With training camp just finished up and one preseason game down, there has been some reaction to the players that have maybe been a little overreaction or have been pretty close to reality. How's it going, guys? I am CanucksLand. Today we're going to be going through 5 player reactions, and I'm going to be giving my opinion on whether they're an overreaction or if they're pretty close to reality of the situation. But before we get into the video, I made a personal goal to try to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the season. We're currently on pretty good pace. We should be at around 400, so it takes a little bit extra. If you guys enjoy this content and you enjoy these videos and you're a Canucks fan, make sure to slapshot that subscribe button, and I would appreciate it a lot. We're trying to build up an awesome community. I like interacting with all you guys. If you guys would also leave a comment on your opinions on this video, that would be greatly appreciated. But let's get right back into it. Alright, the first reaction to one of our players is that Patterson is still struggling. Now, I know it's the haters that are saying this. I know it's the people who are going to go into the chat and say, Patterson's struggling, Demko's hurt. But this is a valid reaction, as he has not shown out so far in either training camp, or he wasn't at the first preseason game, but the scrimmage as well. Don't overreact to star players. That's the one point I have to say. If a star player isn't really playing well, it doesn't mean that they're not good. They're guaranteed a roster spot, so they're probably not going to play as hard like a player like Braden Coots. They're probably not going to play as hard as a player like Filipedo or Niels Hoglander have been playing. Guys who want to try to earn spots in the roster. Patterson is guaranteed that 1C spot. He should worry about himself and trying to get just back to his game, feel comfortable, and I feel like he'll naturally just roll in. So, Patterson's still struggling. I think it's an overreaction for now until the season starts and we really see how Patterson could do in games. That was a very quick one for number 1, but number 2 is Willander is behind in his AHL development. Me personally, I think this is a bit of an overreaction. Now, I did come up with all of these. Now, I made sure to come up with some that I made sure that were a reality, but so far, 2 overreactions. I think that Willander is not behind this development. The reason being is, personally, I always thought that he was going to be in the AHL to start the season just because he's on a path, sort of like DPD, doesn't devalue him as a prospect. It just shows that, the pro game is a different game. You really have to adjust to it. As much as you can play with older people in college, as much as you can play with older guys out in Sweden, no matter what, when you come to North America, it still takes time to adjust unless you're that top caliber prospect. So with Willander, right now, it's just trying to get development into the pro game. It could take quicker. He seems like a better prospect. It could end up taking quicker than DPD. He might go down to the AHL for a month or two and really start to figure things out, and he might earn an NHL spot halfway throughout the season. But as of right now, he just has to adjust to the pro game, means he has to go to the AHL, because you don't want to have those reps in the NHL where he might get outmatched, and it will hurt your team if he's in the AHL. Although, yes, the AHL goal is to win the Calder Cup like Abbotsford did last season. It's also a land where players can develop, and it helps just not having him up in the NHL, but still being able to adjust to the pro game, because it's those players who are either on the fringe or just below NHL caliber of a player. So, don't be upset that Willander is not quite there in his development, but just be happy that he is pretty close. He really looks good. It's just the small things. It's all the small things that comes with adjusting to the pro level. Now on to another prospect. Braden Coots will make the NHL, and I promise, I promise there's some reality picks in here, but I do think that this one is a slight overreaction. The only reason I say slight is because there is a chance that he just, boom, gets it in these next upcoming, maybe he plays this game, he gets one more game, he gets 2 games, and boom, he just gets it, and he looks like a legit NHL player. But at the moment, young guys like this, they can tend to look good in training camp, but then eventually you will kind of see, the small parts of their game that they're really not the best at, and they still need some development at, especially a guy who was just drafted. Now, Zach Benson made the NHL. That's a really good, that's a good example of a player around Braden Coots' selection that made the NHL. Nikita Zadorov was the same. They both made it for Buffalo, and Buffalo hasn't made the playoffs. I'm pretty sure in that time that those two came into the league. So take it with a bit of grain of salt, as we're supposed to be a caliber team that would make the playoffs. But Braden Coots can still, because our center depth is so just not great at the moment, he can kind of sneak in if he really starts to fit in. For me, it's the physicality side. I think he's really got everything. He makes smart plays. I mean, he helped set up that goal for Mancini in the preseason game. He looks really good really confident. He's got great speed, great hands, a really quick shot. It's just the physicality, and he even said it himself. He gets beat in the corners. Those guys come out. They're not tired. He's tired, or he's able to beat them, but it's still like they're going to be able to chase up right up to him because they're not as tired. He's got to build up that physicality around the board so that he just doesn't get too tired. He's got to build out his frame. But by the time that's done, he could even be further in his development. If we send him to Seattle and he builds his frame out this season, next season, he could probably make the NHL. I do think that he has maybe jumped a little bit in a lot of our expectations of what he can do and his development as it is at the moment. I'm very happy about Coots. I do think he gets a 9-game sample. Not sure when, if it's the start of the season or if it's at the end of the season. It's usually at the end of the season when, we're kind of set in what we are, unless we're in a big race. But I could definitely see him getting a 9-game sample. Kratzov is already falling out of the NHL picture. Now, Kratzov hasn't really impressed too much, and even in his interview he said that, everyone just seems like a little better than he expected. I think that this is a bit of a reality. I think he might end up starting in the AHL. He might end up starting as a scratch, maybe more physical kind of player that we could count on being a fourth-line guy. We haven't seen him in a game yet, so we're not quite sure if he'll be able to be there. He is in this game tonight against the Calgary Flames, playing with Atu Ratu and Chase Stillman. So they are playing him with a younger centerman that can help him a little bit, but also a realistic line mate that he probably ended up playing with. I mean, it's either him or Bluger. So we'll see how Kratzov performs in the games, but at the moment, it's not looking too great, and he probably starts in the AHL. And if he doesn't want to go to the AHL, he might end up going to the KHL. He might just come out, try it out, and then it doesn't seem to work. Or maybe we put him on waivers and he gets picked up by a team that really needs a guy like Kratzov, or just, wants to take a shot on him. But I could see him starting in Abbotsford if no one claims him, and maybe working his way up, just improving just a tiny bit. He had such a good year in the KHL that always doesn't translate, but I could totally see him trying to work hard to get back to the NHL spot, but I could also see him saying, like, maybe it's not realistic and wanting to go back to Russia, or just wanting to go try out on a different team that's maybe not as great. Now, last but not least, is Filipedo locked as the Canucks 2C center. I think this one's baked in a little bit of reality with a tiny bit of overreaction. I think if you were able to put a meter, and here's reality, and here's overreaction, you would probably land about here. I would say about halfway to reality, and then pretty far away from overreaction, but still not close there. The only reason I say that is at the moment, there's no one who's going to pass Hedl for the 2C role except for Coots and Ratu, who really have to show out in order to do so. Filipedo's looked really good. I think that he might take a step up this season and play a little bit better with how aggressive he's been playing, with how fast, how good he's been looking this season. But also, I feel like he could also really just, not take that next step, but still look really good. I think he could still maybe be like a 40 or 50 point guy, but still not really look to the entirety of like a 2C that we would kind of want. So with Filipedo, his work ethic and the fact that he's probably guaranteed that roster spot puts here, it's the worry about injuries as well that kind of puts it up like a tiny bit. And then there's the, maybe he's not quite there yet, that will probably put it about there. Filipedo does look great. I'm really excited for what he has to bring. He's going to be in this game tonight in Abbotsford. He's going to be with Hoglander, with McCurchin. He was supposed to be with Garland, but Garland was taken out of the lineup for injury reasons. Foot said, though, if it was the home opener, Garland would be playing, so don't worry about it too much. But yeah, Filipedo looks pretty good. He's pretty much guaranteed the spot, has been working really hard. The only concern is, does he take that next step in the development? Personally, I think that he's in a great spot to do that. And does he not get hurt? Does the injuries get a hold of him? Now, I'm not too worried about the injuries until one happens. I don't speak it in until... I've been speaking in this video that injuries could, really derail his season, but don't really worry about an injury until one happens. I know he has concussion, but if he can really work on his game and get him to a spot where he doesn't really get into those dangerous areas to get hit really hard, it doesn't really take a hard hit, but just avoiding like the big ones and just, absorbing the small ones and nothing really happens, then he could have a full healthy season. But one hit could really ruin it. That's the worry. I understand the worry. But Filipedo so far, in terms of his play, has looked really, really good in his effort to try to be the 2C, and I could really see him taking a jump forward, but that all depends on if everything goes right for him and he gets like really good reps in games and I think his skill can shine in a lot of areas of the ice. I really think that he just has to get to those areas, and it's really up to who else he plays with as well. Are they going to be just as good as him? Are they going to help elevate him as well? Because all three guys, no matter the skill, should try to elevate each other. That's been it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let's check out the video on your right. The video on your right is from Monday. The video on your left is from Friday. Subscribe right down under there. I will see you guys in the next one, which is an episode of the podcast. Bye.